Michelle Barnes.
I love him. Yeah. How are you guys doing? Man, what a great crowd. There's some good-looking people in this place. Maybe I should take you all back home to Colorado. You guys all ready to go back to Colorado with me? All right. Awesome. Well, I love Cliff, and it's been an amazing, absolutely amazing week here, and it's been such a pleasure to be here. And I had no idea that this place was absolutely so beautiful. Oh my gosh, everywhere I go, I'm almost like, just ship my stuff from Colorado, I'm staying. You know, it's gorgeous here, and it's been a pleasure just to hang out and for Cliff and I to be able to talk. And Cliff, you know, says I'm one of his mentors, but he's one of mine. And just hanging out and spending time with people who are successful, like-minded people, it's amazing how much you can learn just by sitting and having the conversation. And we've spent the last 4 days on, you know, going on a safari, on a boat ride, and, you know, Table Mountain, and all kinds of amazing things, and awesome restaurants, and, you know, got to hang out with Graydon and a bunch of the other, Ina, and some great people. It was so much fun. So I'm excited to be here. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I have a little bit of energy, I must admit, and I want to, the more excited I get, the faster I talk. So I hope y'all can understand me, because no matter how hard I try to not talk fast, I just get really excited and then I talk even faster. So hopefully you can listen fast, okay? How many of you are brand new, I guess, or how many of you have never even been to a presentation, don't really know a whole lot about Vemma and Verb yet? Raise your hands really high so I know what I'm dealing with here. Okay, awesome, sweet. Okay, cool, guys. What I'd like to do is just kind of give you a little bit of background information. First of all, obviously I came, like Cliff said, 30 hours. I've been doing this type of business, network marketing, multi-level, whatever you want to call it, for a long time now. It's been about 17 years that I've been doing this business. I started when I was 4. But you guys caught that, just in case you do the math. And so anyway, actually what happened was that here, you know, I bet a lot of you, it doesn't matter, you know, what country we live in, it doesn't matter where we grew up, but typically every single one of us, how many of you guys have heard, go to school, get good grades, go to college, college is the key to success, get out of college, start at the bottom of the company, work your way to the top, and you'll be immensely successful. How many of you guys all heard that? Okay, so you guys all heard the same thing, right? Okay, do you guys all have the same mom? Is her name Bev? Because that's what Bev said my whole life, okay? So I bought it hook, line, and sinker, okay? I was the first person in my family to go to college. You know, my mom was a single mom with 4 kids, and you know, my grandmother was a single mom, so with 6 kids. So I was the first person in my family to go to college. So I went to the University of Colorado, CU Boulder, and got that 4-year degree because I thought that's what I needed to do to be successful. And ever since I was this big, I think even growing up, you know what you kind of know what you want to do. And I just knew that I wanted to be immensely successful. Money was always an issue in my life growing up, being, you know, raised by a single parent. Money was always an issue. It was always a problem, always a challenge, and I didn't want it to be that way. So I thought school was the answer. So I went to college, and what's so crazy is you're 18 years old, okay, you just graduated high school, you're 18, you're going into college, and they go, great, so what do you want to major in? I'm like, partying? Like, what else? Right? I mean, why would you ask an 18-year-old what they want to be when they grow up? How many of you still don't know what the hell you want to be when you grow up? Okay? I mean, seriously. So I went to college. I was looking at, you know, the majors and stuff, and I saw one that said sociology, and it said the study of people, and I was like, sweet, I'm a total people watcher. I love people. I love watching them. I love sitting in airports. I mean, don't you love sitting in airports and watching people? So, some of you are like, no, you're weird. It's okay. I do, and so I thought, that's what I'll major in. So that's what I did. Got my degree in 4 years, and found out with that degree that I was worth about $23,000 US as far as income on a yearly basis. And after taxes and stuff like that in the US, that's like nothing. So I thought, okay, this is not what I had in mind. And so here I was waiting tables and bartending because I could make a lot more money doing that than I could with my degree. How many of you know people like that? Waiting tables, bartending, because they could make more money, yeah. So that's what I was doing. So I thought, well, maybe I just need more education. You know, they told me my whole life education's the key. So I thought, well, you know, what I guess successful people are either stockbrokers, doctors, or attorneys. Well, I passed out giving my own blood, so being a doctor was probably not going to be an option. Stockbroker, I was like, yeah, sounds boring. And so I was like, well, go to law school. So I went to law school, and I went to a private law school actually in LA. Whittier Law School is $30,000 US for 1 year, okay, 30 grand for 1 year. And so I'm already up to $80,000 debt, okay. So I'm 22, 23 years old, I'm $80,000 in debt. And after that first year of law school, I'm interning with some attorneys. I don't know if you guys know any attorneys. Anyone know any attorneys? Okay, anyone know a happy attorney? That's the problem. Okay, you're like, oh, kind of, maybe. Yeah, so I worked with some attorneys, and the 3 attorneys that I worked with were the most miserable people I've ever met. They were so crusty and crabby all the time, and all they did was complain, and they were grouchy, and I thought, God, you know what? If I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to get their results to 10, 20 years from now. I'm going to be where they are. And I thought, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that. So I kind of started reevaluating and stuff, and so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go back to Colorado in between my first year and second year of law school. I'm going to go back. I'm just going to see what's out there. And so when I went back to Colorado, I knew that I did not want to go back to law school. I knew that I really did not want to be an attorney at that point. But here I was, $80,000 in debt. So 80 grand in debt, no job, not a good combination, okay? So, you know, again, waiting tables. So I actually had 3 jobs, which is really pathetic, okay? And so what happened was I was 23 years old, I was $80,000 in debt, and I saw an ad in the paper, and the ad said sports-minded in big letters, and I was like, I play sports, I have a mind, qualified. That's about the logic that went into it, and it said $3,000 to $6,000 a month, which in U.S. money, that's a lot of money. I mean, $3,000 to $6,000 a month, I was like, that's like gazillionaire status. So I answered the ad, and I got all excited, and I went in for what I thought was an interview. I walked in, and I saw products, and this was a long time ago, and I almost turned around and walked out. How many are a little skeptical when you first took a look at this opportunity? Okay, a little bit, yeah. I mean, if you're not skeptical, I mean, when people are like, oh my God, that's awesome, I think that's weird, because I was really skeptical. I almost walked out of my first meeting, because I thought, oh gosh, you know, here we go again, it's another one of these deals. You know, I've seen these things before. How many of you did that when you walked in? Be honest. Be honest. All right, some of you are like, I'm not raising my hand no matter what you ask me. That's all right, I'll get you by the end. Okay? You will like me by the time I'm done, I promise. So anyway, so I sat through, I went into this presentation, and I almost walked out of my first presentation. And I think about it every day, guys. Life's about choices. Okay? Life's about choices. Every single choice that we make determines where you're going. Every single little choice. And I think about it all the time. What if, just what if I would have walked out? And thank God the guy that I was talking to, he said, look, he goes, how do you know it's not for you? And I was like, and in my mind I'm thinking, well, because I'm going to be an attorney, I'm not going to be a vitamin lady, that would be stupid. Okay, that's what I'm thinking in my head. And so it was a whole ego thing. I knew I didn't even want to be an attorney. I knew I didn't even want to go back to law school. And so he goes, look, he's like, you were going to spend 45 minutes with me. He's like, just check it out. You know, what do you have to lose? You know, he's like, just check it out. If it's not for you after 45 minutes, if it's not for you, great. You know, if it's not for you, we'll just part as friends. And I was like, whatever, okay. And then there's some guy standing over here, and he was like, oh, your mind's like a parachute. It only works if it's open. And I'm like, oh, you know. Can you tell I was really positive at that time? I was like, oh, God, shut up. But anyway, so I sat through the presentation, and it was crazy because the information I got in that 45-minute period literally changed my life. I mean, I can't even imagine where I would be today had I not sat through that presentation and gotten really fired up and really excited about what you're going to hear today. And you know what? It was a different company, but it doesn't matter. The thing that's great is, the thing that I look at, you guys have an opportunity with Vemma and with Verve. I mean, if this is your first time doing a business like this, be thankful, be grateful. Cliff and I have been through a lot of companies where we didn't have products that were this amazing. We didn't have a CEO like BK Borrego that's as amazing as he is. He's like the Steve Jobs of network marketing. I mean, he's so innovative. He's so passionate about what he does. And I mean, he's got his goals set up in his office, and his goal is to pay out $117 million this year to us, to you and I, to us. And so how exciting is that, that a CEO, his goals, I mean, he never sits up on his laurels, he never, gets comfortable, ever. He's always, always, always trying to make us look better and doing such great things. And every time I think that this company can't get better, it does. It's crazy. We started off with Vemma, which you guys have here, obviously. And for those of you that are brand spanking new, one little 2-ounce shot of that. It's basically the liquid equivalent of eating 9 servings of all organic fruits and vegetables a day. Okay? How many of you are currently eating 9 servings of all organic fruits and vegetables a day? You're so full of it. Now that you drink Vemma, you are, right? I mean, seriously. I mean, I try to eat healthy, but there's no way I'm eating 9 servings of all organic fruits and vegetables a day. So for me, to spend, a couple bucks a day, it's like peace of mind for me. The cancer is 1 in 3, heart disease is 1 in 2. I mean, you look at those statistics, think about all the health challenges people have today: fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, MS, arthritis, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all of these things. 95% of illnesses stem from being vitamin and mineral deficient. So it's not rocket science. It's like if you're not deficient in those things, you probably will stay healthy. So the key is to just get this formula. I don't care whether it's Vemma or Verve or what. The key is just to get this into your body every single day, because your body does amazing things when you put the proper nutrients into it. Okay? I know I don't eat 9 servings of all organic fruits and vegetables a day. And if I'm not, I know my kids aren't. Okay? So it's the most important thing is just to get this formula into your body every day. The great thing is that we have a product. The day I met BK Barreto, our CEO, 10 years ago, he said, look, you will never, ever, ever have to apologize for the quality of these products. You'll never have to apologize for the quality of these products. How awesome is that? To have a CEO that has the utmost confidence, where he's just like, look, I'm going to make sure that there's not a single product out there that even comes close to competing. And I love that about Vemma. For the last 8 years that we've been building Vemma in the States, I don't care what somebody brings me. They bring me another product. I say, you know what? Great. Let's compare them side by side. Okay? Let's compare what you're taking to Vemma. Let's compare them side by side. By all means, after we do our due diligence, if you still think that your product, that what you're currently taking is better, by all means, keep taking it. And there has never been one time, never, in 8 years, there's never been one time that somebody's brought me a product that after you compare them side by side is better. Okay? Now, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? It means we don't have to be vitamin salespeople. Okay? I mean, think about it. How many of you truly sat in the sandbox when you were little thinking, oh my God, one of these days when I grow up, I am going to be a vitamin lady? Anyone? Okay? Because I didn't dream about selling vitamins, folks. Okay? When I got started in this industry 17 years ago, I was not looking for a complete liquid nutritional program. I was looking for a better life. How many are looking for a better life? Yeah, who isn't, right? Okay? Everybody's looking for a better life. Whether that means more time with your kids, whether that means more money, whether it means getting money issues out of the way, whether it means becoming financially independent so that time and money are never an issue, whether it means being able to travel, whether it means not having a boss for the next 40 years. I mean, because think about it, that whole 40-year plan, I don't know about you guys, I'll get into that in a second, but let's go back to the product. But here's the thing, guys, nobody wants to sell vitamins. If I went to 10 people out on the street right now and said, do you want to sell vitamins? I guarantee you every one of them would say no, okay? But if I went to every person on the street and said, hey, could you use some extra money? Could you use some extra time? Every single one of them would say yes. Agree? Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about that a lot today. But you look at these products, guys, there's not a better product out there. And I love that because I was scared to death of sales. Okay? When I was 23 years old, $80,000 in debt, the last thing in the world I wanted to do was be a salesperson. But I love working with people. I wanted to find a career where I loved what I did for a living, where I could make good money, and where I could help a lot of people along the way. And every time I told people that, they said, good luck finding that. Isn't that crazy? I mean, and I didn't think I was asking for too much. I want to love what I do. I want to be able to help people, and I want to make a lot of money. And guess what? Welcome to network marketing. That's the best thing about this business. And it's so funny, when people are skeptical of this industry, guys, this industry has created more millionaires than any industry in the entire world. So does it work? Yeah, it's been around for a gazillion years now. It's created more millionaires than any industry in the world. The reason why people are skeptical is because you always got somebody who's like, oh, my brother's sister's aunt's cousin's, uncle did one of these and he failed miserably, so they must not work. No, the stupid uncle didn't work, okay? It's not rocket science. It's like do a little, make a little, do a lot, make a lot, okay? That's the greatest thing about this business is you determine your income in this business. If your results suck, that means you suck. So all we're gonna do today is figure out how not to suck. Okay, does that make sense? Is suck a bad word here? If it is, I'm sorry. I told you, I get really excited, and sometimes it just comes out, so I'll apologize in advance, and we'll just keep rolling. All right. So here's the thing, guys. I'm going to see if this PowerPoint works. I'm going to move this so I don't fall over it. That would really be not fun. This is longer. Okay. And normally I have a microphone that like clips on here because I like to talk with my hands. So usually I'm like this. So we'll work with it. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's get this thing going. We'll figure it out. Look at that. What do you know? All right. So anyway, so what's so exciting, guys, is that you guys have an opportunity here to be literally the foundation of the country. I mean, this is just getting up and rolling. The exciting thing is that somebody is going to own it, whether it's you guys or someone else, okay? So, I mean, think about it. How many millions of people are here? Give me a number. In South Africa. How many? 50 million? I mean, even if you got a half of a percent, I mean, how many think that that would be a good day? Yeah, okay? So this is it's such an exciting business, and hopefully you guys are ready to have some fun, because all I know is that this business can change your life if you allow it to. But you got to be excited. You got to be ready to have some fun. You got to be ready to, like, you know, deal with some challenges. I mean, isn't that just life anyway? So we're going to talk about some exciting stuff here. This is what I was told. I was told, go to school, get your grades, start at the bottom, you know, work your way to the top. Okay? I love when people are like, oh my gosh, is this one of those pyramid deals? And I'm like, oh, like corporate America, where you go work for 40 years, but you start at the bottom, work your way to the top? I mean, think about it. There's a CEO at the top, president, a couple vice presidents, middle managers, some, you know, lower people, and all the people at the bottom. Are there more people at the bottom or the top? Yeah, I've never seen a company shaped like this, with 14,000 CEOs and one cleaning lady, Martha. Okay? Never seen a corporation shaped like that. So all I know is, in our opportunity, you actually get to start at the top. You're the CEO of your business. So who do you want to work with? If you were going to start a multi-million-dollar corporation, which is, you know, Cliff has a multi-million-dollar corporation. He's the CEO of that corporation, but so are you. And that's what's so great. If you were going to start a multi-million-dollar corporation today, who would you want to work with? Okay? Pick some of the best people. You know, start thinking about who you know. And we'll get into some you know, here's what my plan is for the day, okay? The morning part, what I want to do is I want to get your mind in the right place to do this business, because that's 99% of it. I'm going to teach you today exactly what to do, and I'm going to teach you exactly what to say. How many of you are excited about that, to learn what to do and what to say, okay? I'm going to teach you exactly what I've done in the last 17 years to make millions of dollars doing this business. But here's the thing. I can give you this giant toolbox of information. I can give you every single thing. I can tell you exactly what to say. I can tell you exactly what to do. But if this part isn't right to begin with, if your mindset isn't, if you don't have the proper mindset, I don't care what I tell you, you're still not going to be successful. Okay? And that's what's amazing. I've done millions of opportunity meetings. I've done millions of trainings in the last 17 years. It's crazy. I mean, tons and tons. And it's crazy to me how two people can sit in the same room, okay, side by side, listening to the same information. One goes out and totally tears it up and becomes immensely successful, and the other one 30 days from now quits and says, this sucks. Oh, I tried one of those and it didn't work. Oh, whatever, okay? But what's crazy, the same two people sat in the same room, got the same information. You guys are all hearing the exact same stuff today. So the most important thing is for us to get what's in between these two ears correct. If we can get your mindset right, if I can teach you how to think like a very successful person, you'll be successful, okay? Because I can give you all the tools, but if you don't have the right mindset, it'll never happen, okay? This one is one of my favorites. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, okay? I had mentors that said, look, kid, you know, for things to change, you need to change. And for you to change, your thoughts need to change. And until your thoughts change, you're going to keep getting the same results, you know. And I'm sitting there, and at the time, here I was so skeptical, almost walked out of that first meeting. But what's so crazy is here I had 3 jobs and was broke. Shouldn't I probably have been a little more skeptical about what I was doing rather than what they were doing? Obviously, what they were doing was working. What I was doing was not working. If I had 3 jobs and was still broke, I was obviously doing something wrong. Okay? So I love this quote. All right. One of the biggest things in this business is getting out of your comfort zone. Okay? A lot of it about this business, talking to people, opening your mouth. You know, I'm going to teach you what to say, but a lot of it is that whole mindset and getting out of your comfort zone. And like I said, it's so crazy to me how many people just don't understand that entrepreneurial mindset. We've been raised to be employees. We've been programmed our whole lives to be really good employees. So all of a sudden, when you're your own boss, I mean, I know when I started at 23, I was a pretty cool boss. I mean, I started this business and I'd look in the mirror and be like, hey, can I go snowboarding today? Absolutely. You know, it's like, sweet. You know, so when you're an entrepreneur and you're your own boss, it's a lot of it comes down to decisions and choices. I can go back to this one actually. Now never mind. Let's do this. This is one of my other favorites. Winners are those people who make a habit of doing things losers are uncomfortable doing. That's a little harsh. If anything, you'll find by the end of the day, I'm definitely a very blunt person. I'm probably honest to a fault. I definitely say it like it is because I don't want to candy coat anything. I want to make sure that if you're sitting here spending time with me today, time's the most valuable thing you have. You chose to spend this Saturday with us, and so I want to make sure, I promise you, that I will leave it all on the table today. I promise you I will give you 1,000,000% today. I hope you give it back because you know what? It's so crazy. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. How many of you agree with that? Okay? And the more you give, the more you get. Isn't it crazy how that works? Okay? I mean, and here's the thing, guys. I mean, how many know people that are just like, I mean, I would say you're either giving energy or you're sucking energy. Okay? You're either an energy giver or an energy sucker. There's no neutral. Okay? You're either giving energy or sucking energy. How many know people, you look at your phone and you're like, oh. Your phone rings and you're just like, oh. You guys know those people? How many of you are that person? Ooh, don't raise your hand. Okay? So, I mean, we all have those people in our life where you look at your phone and you're just like, oh, God, I don't even want to answer this. Because you just know the second you pick up your phone, you're like, you know, they're like sucking you through the phone. And you know those people, and you answer the phone, you're like, hello? And they're like, oh, hey, Michelle. Oh, I'm having the worst day. You guys know those people? And you're just like being sucked through the phone instantly. Isn't it crazy? And then how many got people in your life, you look down at your phone, you're like, ah, sweet. You're like, hey, what's up? And you're excited to talk to them, right? Okay? So don't be that person because it's really hard to do this business if you're the energy sucker, okay? And like I said, there's no neutral. You're either giving it right this very second. In this room, as you're sitting here, if you're leaning forward and you're paying attention and you're participating and laughing at my stupid jokes, awesome. But you know why? Because you're going to get so much more out of this. And everything that I give you today, we're going to take to a cellular level, which is awesome. Okay? When you actively participate, when you experience what we do today, it's going to be magical. Okay? So you guys give it all you got, I'll give it all you got. Well, it'll be an awesome, awesome day. Fair enough? All right. So what we're going to talk about, my favorite thing is this is anywhere, not just in America, but 3% of America retires financially independent. Okay, that's in America. It's probably everywhere. 3% of America retires financially dependent. 97% of America, 90% of all humans, I think, retire financially dependent on friends, family, and the federal government when they retire. Isn't that crazy? So 3% are wealthy, 97% are not. And what's crazy is that 3% is worth more than the whole 97% combined. Right? Okay? So the whole key is if you want to become financially independent, if you want to become wealthy, you can do that in this business, guys. There's people doing it every single day. There's people that are immensely successful that have become financially independent by doing this business. Okay? But we have to figure out, okay, well, what's the difference? How come 3% is wealthy and 97% is not? Well, they obviously think differently. They obviously, the 3% that's wealthy think differently than the 97% that don't. How many of you agree with that? Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about that because here's the thing, guys. The way I look at it, and I always talk about, we went on a safari yesterday and it was so much fun. And we saw these rhinos, and I love rhinos, okay? And for me, it's like when you first get started in this business, you're like a little baby rhino, Okay, you have like this little teeny nub, you know, the mom and dad have this big ginormous horn, you know, we saw that yesterday, this big huge horn, right? And in this business, when you first get started, you're like a baby rhino. You have like a little nub, you don't have that big horn yet, okay? I mean, Cliff, think about it, when somebody tells Cliff, oh, you know, those things don't work, do you think Cliff cries and like wants to quit? You know, if somebody tells Cliff, oh, it's a pyramid deal, you're never going to make any money, do you think Cliff's like, okay? I mean, do you think he wants to quit? No, but when we're new, our skin is not that thick yet. We're like a baby rhino, and our skin's not that thick. But the more trainings you come to like this, more calls that you get on, more videos that you watch, all of that stuff is going to thicken your skin. It's going to thicken your belief level, okay? And the more you believe, my whole goal today is to increase your confidence and decrease your fear. If I can increase your confidence about doing this business and decrease your fear, it's going to be amazing what happens when you leave this room, okay? Because if we can raise your confidence in the company, in the product, I mean, you're going to hear from a doctor today, you're going to hear from some other leaders. I mean, it's amazing as we raise your confidence and belief in the product and the company and the industry. But the most important thing that I'm here today to do is to increase your confidence in yourself, okay? Because you're the most important product that you have to sell. This is not about selling vitamins, guys. We are so blessed to have the best products in the entire world. But the reality is, it's not about selling vitamins. You know, the only thing you're selling when you walk out there and talk to people is yourself. That's what you're selling. They're buying your confidence, they're buying your excitement, they're buying your energy, okay? And if you don't have that confidence, it's going to be hard to sign people up. If you're that energy sucker we just talked about, it's going to be hard to sign them up. And those energy suckers, I mean, it's crazy. They'll suck the life out of you, and then as soon as they're done with you, they go on to the next person. It's crazy how they do that, okay? And so here's the thing, guys. We choose who we hang out with. We'll talk about that more in a second as well. But, I mean, I look at like, okay, we're going to teach everybody to go from being a baby rhino with thin skin to thick skin. I mean, you see those rhinos, they have like a whole, like, flock of birds on their back, and they don't even know it. They're just like, and there's birds on their back, they don't even feel it. They got this huge ginormous horn. That's like Cliff. He's got a big horn. So when somebody tells him, let me oh, now you got it. Okay. Clearly, okay. See, stuff just comes out. That's awesome. And he loved it, too.
It's flashing.
Oh, now you guys should have told me this is the kind of crowd I was dealing with. Yeah, I would have lightened up a long time ago. Jeez. Oh my gosh, he's never going to let me live that one down. Such a bragger. So anyway, as I was saying, so our whole thing is to thicken that skin and so you guys can all have a big horn, okay? And so that when somebody says, oh, it's a pyramid deal, it doesn't hurt your feelings anymore, okay? Because think about it, you know, we saw, you know, you see all these sheep. How many of you realize, like, sheep are always all together, right? They're always all together because they're, like, so scared and they have to stay together. And that's, like, 97% of America. It's, like, it's amazing to me that people will go out and work the 40-year plan, okay, from 25 to 65 plus, to retire broke. That's amazing. You're going to work hard no matter what you do. So why not work hard building something for you? Why not work hard building something for your family? You're going to work hard no matter what you do. Okay? And you're going to do it for probably the next 40 years. What if you could take that 40-year plan and cram it into 5 or 10? What if you could become financially independent in the next 5 years? How many of you think that'd be pretty cool? I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much your family makes, whatever. The reality is that what if you, with this opportunity, what if you made a decision today to put your head down for the next 5 years and just go to work like never before, build the heck out of this market and just friggin' own it? And the nice thing is we're in 57 countries. So it doesn't matter where you know people. I mean, think about it. I'm blessed to have an organization here. It's not because of me. It's because of Cliff. I mean, look at that. He's got a massive group in Taiwan. I mean, it's crazy. You just never know who you're going to meet tomorrow that's going to go out and go to another country and build the heck out of this organization. And everybody you know knows people you don't know who know people you don't know. Okay? But you got to break away from that pack. You know, the sheep are all together, and the safest one feels like they're in the middle. You know, and all of your friends and family, they're like trying to save you from network marketing. It's crazy. I mean, my mom was a nightmare when I started in this business. Not everybody is going to be like, oh, that's awesome that you started in network marketing. Okay? When I think about it, my mom was really proud. You know, I called her up and said, hey Mom, I'm quitting law school. I'm quitting law school to sell vitamins. Imagine how proud she was. You know, the normal conversations on the phone, it's like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, Michelle's in law school. I know, isn't that great? Yeah, she went to college, went to law school, she's going to be an attorney. Yeah, oh, I know. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, she's a vitamin lady now. Right? Doesn't quite have the sex appeal, does it? So what happens is people have, we call it OPO, other people's opinions, and it'll make you or break you. Other people's opinions will make you or break you in this business. So we've got to thicken your skin. We don't want you to be one of those sheep in the pack where all your friends and family are like, come back to the safe side, you know? Like, we want you to be that rhino, okay? Not one of the 97%. So is it going to take a little work? Is it going to take changing your thinking a little bit? Okay? Now, maybe some of you in the room, I know that a lot of you, Cliff has told me a lot about a lot of you guys that are already immensely successful. That's awesome. I have so many people in my organization all over the world that are already extremely successful. They're business owners, they're entrepreneurial, they're business-minded, which is why they get this. What's crazy is, unfortunately, people who need this opportunity that could come in, doesn't matter what their past is, just matters where they want to go. And this opportunity could change anyone's life. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter what your education is. If you made a decision today, it does not matter where you've been, it matters where you want to go. That's what I loved about this. I love the fact that I could come in and I could make as much money as I wanted to make. But it was up to me. If I put my head down and went to work, awesome, okay? But I had to change my thinking because my whole life I was programmed and taught to be a really good employee. I was taught to be a really good 97%er, okay? And to go out and just do that 40-year plan and just be happy with that and go to work. I mean, in I don't know how it is here, but in the U.S. it's like you go to work from 9 to 5, you commute, you sit in traffic, you know, and then you go to work all day, you sit in a cubicle for 40 years. That sounds like fun. Sign me up for that program. No, okay? I mean, no, I don't know about you guys, but I love the fact that I could be my own boss. I could set my own hours. I could do what I wanted, when I wanted, with who I wanted, and I determined my income. My work ethic, my attitude, what I learned, the more I applied, the more money I made. The more people I helped, the more money I made. I love that about this business. Isn't that awesome? I mean, think about it. The more people you help become successful in this business, the more successful you become. It's so cool, okay? Because fast forward, 17 years later, I've been with Vemma for 8 years since we launched the company. I was with the parent company. It's a company called New Vision International. It was already a billion-dollar debt-free giant when I started. And so I've been with BK Breaker, our CEO, for a decade now, for 10 years. And so when I look at the 17 years I've been doing this business, today, being a single parent with 2 little guys, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, Carter and Cole. And thank God I get to raise my own kids, okay? I get to be at home with my kids. I get to take my 4-year-old to school. I pick him up. I hang out. I work in his classroom. I do whatever I want to do. And I build this business around my life instead of my life around my business, okay? And that's what we want to teach you how to do today, guys. Whether you're just getting started on a part-time basis, I started on a part-time basis. My whole goal was just to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, U.S., just a little extra money. If I could just make a little extra money, I was like, man, if I could just start making a little extra money. How many of you could use just a little extra money on a monthly basis? Yeah. So our whole goal is to teach you how to get your product totally paid for, okay? I'm going to do a lot of that this afternoon because here's the thing, guys. If you're not making more than you're spending on a monthly basis after your first 30, 60, 90 days, you're not doing what we tell you to do. Okay, because we're going to teach you, I'm going to teach you exactly what to say and exactly what to do. If you just do the things we tell you today, I mean, and it's so crazy because people are always like, oh my God, that was the best event. I'm like, show me it was the best event by taking action. Okay, because being excited is one thing. I'll make sure you're excited by the time you leave here, but it's what you do with the information when you leave here that's going to determine your results. Okay, so prove to me that today's great, because it will be. We're gonna give you exactly, we're gonna take the gloves off and give you exactly what you need to be successful. So I'm gonna talk about the differences, because for me, when I started at 23, I thought, okay, well, if I'm thinking like a 97%er and I'm getting 97% results, and that's not the way wealthy people think. How do wealthy people think? Okay, how many of you would like to know how do wealthy people think versus people who are not wealthy? Okay, so that's what I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to talk to you about that. I love this little analogy because I always say the roots create the fruits, and the invisible create the visible, okay? Because those roots are under the ground, you can't see them, and that's our programming. That's everything that we've learned our entire life from when we were this little. From the day we're born, we start getting programmed by our friends and our family and our parents and teachers and churches and, TV and all this stuff, and all that programming goes in there, and it's all there, no matter what. With some of it's conscious, some of it's subconscious, but the reality is the roots create the fruit. So if the results that you're producing in life are not the results you want, you can't, a lot of times you have to go a little deeper and find out why. And a lot of it comes down to our programming and what we were taught growing up. I was taught to go to school, get good grades, go to college, that's the key to success. And so, but in reality, that really wasn't. I'm not saying education is not the key. I think I would not trade my education for the world. And actually, my 4-year degree was the best party I've ever been to. So I definitely wouldn't exchange that. It was a hefty cover charge for that one. But anyway, so if you want different results in life, you've got to be willing to go a little deeper and find out how to change those results. So here's the thing, guys. If you have a pen and paper, write this down, okay? Because this is everything, all right? Your thoughts, that's what that T stands for. Your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results, okay? If you put positive in, you're going to get positive out. If you have positive thoughts, they're going to lead to positive feelings. Think about it. When you feel good, don't you usually do positive things? You take positive action. And when you take positive action, you end up having positive results. Okay? I know this is not rocket science, and it seems so obvious, but unfortunately 97% of people in the world just don't get it. That's why they are not financially independent. So if you put negative in, if your thinking is always negative, it's going to lead to negative feelings. And when you have negative feelings, your actions are going to be negative, which means your results are going to be negative. And as soon as your results are negative, then your thoughts are even more negative. And then your feelings are even more negative, and then your actions are even more negative. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay? So if you put positive in, you're going to get positive out. If you put negative in, you're going to get negative out. Okay? It's, like I said, it's not rocket science. The good news is it can be changed. So the whole key is to start to adapt the way that 3% of the wealthy think. Oh, good, I just spilled my water. No problem. So the key is to start thinking like people who are financially independent. Yes? Okay, if that's the results we want. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to give you some quick little things that the wealthy think or that financially independent people think. And some of you might even have issues with me even talking about being wealthy or financially independent. I know I did when I first started this business because that's part of that whole programming thing. Think about some of the things we hear when we're growing up. What are some of the things you hear about money growing up? Filthy rich. What else? What's that? Money's the root of all evil. It's the love of money is the root of all evil, but whatever. Okay, what else? My mom used to say, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. How many heard that one? I'm like, really? Okay. So you hear filthy rich, stinking rich. Wealthy people are jerks and, they're, greedy. Wealthy people are greedy, whatever. All I know is money makes you more of who you are. Okay? If you're a jerk when you're broke, you're going to be a bigger jerk when you're wealthy. Okay? If you're a really nice person when you're poor, you're going to be an even nicer person when you're wealthy. So it has nothing to do with the money, it has everything to do with the person. So money just makes you more of who you are. So the way that I look at it is think about what you can do. It doesn't matter what you want to do with the money, whether it's more time with your kids, whether it's, to be able to, travel all over the world and feed the poor or whatever, or build churches or build houses or, whatever you want to do. It takes time and money. It takes money freedom and time freedom, yes? And that's all that it gives you. Becoming financially independent just gives you options. And that's what it's all about, is options, okay? So 3%, they truly believe I create my life, okay? 97% is like life happens to me. How many know people like that? Life happens, oh, woe is me, poor me, right? We all know people like that. Total victim mode, yes? Okay? I love this. If it's to be, it's up to me, okay? A lot of life is just taking advantage or taking responsibility for our own actions, yes? I love Jim Rohn. If you don't know who Jim Rohn is, read his books, listen to his CDs, go on YouTube. It's Jim, R-O-H-N, my absolute all-time favorite, okay? I was even reading it this morning. I woke up without the alarm. I was so excited to get here today. I woke up like an hour before I was even supposed to and couldn't sleep. So I was just reading Jim Rohn. I mean, it's amazing, guys, and I love it. Jim Rohn says, you can't hire someone to do your push-ups for you. You know, and it's so true. If it's to be, it's up to me, right? So the key is to take 100% responsibility for your success or non-success in life. You know, when you start to take 100% responsibility for where you are today, where you are today is totally a result of your own choices and everything. So a lot of it's just taking 100% responsibility. All right? And what's so crazy is a lot of times it's not what happens to us that determines the outcome. You know, everybody always thinks when something bad happens, it's like, oh, you know, poor me, woe's me. But in reality, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond or how we react to what happens that determines the outcome. So all you have to do is just change your response to whatever happens. And for me, guys, I call it being the spin master. Okay? Every single negative thought that creeps into your head, this is going to be a conscious thing. For me, when I started at 23, I had to learn how to be the spin master. I had to learn how to, every time a negative thought creeped in my head, I had to learn how to spin it into a positive one. Every time a negative situation happened, I had to learn how to spin it into a positive one. You know? I mean, I look at Cliff. This morning, we get in his car to come here. We're all excited, fired up. We got our suits on, ready to go, packed up the car. Wouldn't start. Isn't that awesome? Doesn't that suck? I mean, car problems suck. And so what's so crazy, he's got this totally killer awesome car, and the reality, we get in it wouldn't start. Now, I mean, think about it. He could have been like, oh, God, this ruined my entire day. Oh, we have an event, now it's ruined, everything's ruined, we're going to be late. How many of you know people like that? You know, I mean, one little thing sets him off for the entire day, right? But he was just like, oh, well, you know, here, you know, it is what it is. You know, I can't control it, so let's just get in another car and go. You know, and I always think, you know, it could have been a lot worse. You know, it could have been halfway here, and neither of our phones were working, so that would have been awesome. You know, we're sitting on the side of the road, you guys are all sitting here, so at least it happened before we left, right? So I was thinking, it can always be worse. Everything happens for a reason, okay? So, all right, let's talk about the next one. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Didn't know I had a slide for it. Okay. I'm going to show you guys something that's kind of crazy. All right, everybody stand up, because I always say that the mind can only absorb what the butt can absorb, or your mind can only endure what the butt can absorb. All right, I want to show you guys a little example, because I'm a big thoughts are things person. Okay, like whatever you think is. You know, if you think something's great, it's great. If you think something sucks, it sucks. So I'm going to give you guys an example of mind over matter. Okay? And this is the craziest thing. I've done it in a bunch of different countries. I've done it with thousands of different people, and every single time the results are the same. It's so crazy. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, this is pretty crazy, but I'm going to have to do this because, like I said, I tackle my hands. So what I want you guys to do is go like this. Put your hands together, okay, like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to line up the creases, like make sure your hands are lined up side by side. They say that every single person has one hand that's longer or bigger than the other. Okay, they say everybody does. Okay, have you guys figured out which one is bigger, which one's longer? Okay, what I want you to do is take the hand that's bigger and put it down to your side. Okay? Whichever hand is bigger, put it down by your side. All right? Now what we're going to do, this is so crazy, guys. You're going to look at your hand, and I'm going to show you the power of your thoughts. Okay? You're going to look at this smaller hand, and 8 times you're going to say with me, grow longer. Okay? I know it's crazy. All right? So you're going to look at your hand, and with every ounce of energy you got, you're going to say 8 times out loud, you're going to tell that hand to grow longer. I know some of you are looking at me like I'm crazy. Just you wait. All right? So look at your hand. Okay, we're going to do it 8 times. Ready? Grow longer. 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 Okay, good job. Now put your other hand back up, match up the little creases. How many of you just had your shorter hand grow longer? Raise your hands, please. Look around the room, guys. I'm not crazy. Look around the room. Look around the room. Is that the craziest thing you have ever seen in your whole life? Yeah. It's insane. All right, go ahead and sit down. I know, it's crazy, guys. I know, some of you are still like, oh my God, how the hell did she do that? Guys, I don't know how it works, but it's worked every single time. Thousands and thousands of people, and every single time I would say at least 9 out of 10 people, the shorter hand grows longer. It's just thought over physical matter. I don't know how it works, but it works every single time. Some of you are still like really creeped out. You're still looking at the hand like, that is crazy. How many of you totally think that's crazy? Yeah, isn't that insane? I had a lady one time and she raised her hand and she goes, does that work with body parts? I was like, why don't you try it and let me know? All right. Oh my God, isn't that crazy? So obviously, guys, thought over physical matter. Okay? Thoughts are things. Whatever you think is. And that's that whole 3%, 97%. So we're going to make sure that we teach people in this room today how to think like that 3%. So here's the thing. Most people play victim, yes? Okay, we talked about that a few minutes ago. I'm going to give you 3 signs of a victim because I'm sure that no one in this room has ever been a victim, right? Not any of us, right? Okay, I was just making sure. All right, so what happens, I'm sure there's no one in this room, but I'm going to give you 3 signs of a victim. First of all, victims, they always blame everybody. How many of you noticed that? They blame the economy, they blame the business, they blame their parents, they blame their, siblings, they blame their brothers and sisters, their upline, their downline, their friends, their family. They blame everybody. They're always blaming somebody, okay? Number 2 is that they justify. They justify everything, okay? It's so funny. How many of you hear people go, oh, money's not really that important anyway? How many of you hear people say that? Oh, money's not that important anyway. Maybe it's you that said it, right? Well, think about what you're putting out there. Like, I don't know what your beliefs are. We're not going to get into all that today. That's a whole nother Oprah. But, think about it. Like, well, I don't know what your thoughts are, but, if you put it out there into the universe, if you said, think about what you're putting out there when you say money's not that important anyway. Okay, it's kind of like, okay, the big man upstairs or energy or whatever the universe says, all right, if it's not that important, I'll make sure you don't have any. Okay, isn't that crazy? What if it was your wife and you said, she's not really that important anyway? Do you think she'd stick around very long? Probably not, right? Okay, so think about what you're putting out there. And it's so funny when people say that, when people say money's not that important anyway, they're always broke. I've never heard a wealthy person say that, okay? So that's another sign, is they justify everything. And the third one is that they complain. They complain about everything. How many of you know people like that? They complain about everything. Always complain. This is the absolute worst thing, guys, that you can do for your health. How many have ever noticed that people that complain the most are also the most unhealthy? And they just become more and more unhealthy, more and more unhealthy, more and more unhealthy. And all they do is complain about their health challenges and what's wrong today. It's the worst thing that you could possibly do for your health and for your financial situation is to complain. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is my favorite. What you focus on expands, okay? Think about it, guys. How many of you have had a bad day before? Okay, for those of you that raise your hand, you're my new best friend. I'm going to hang out with you all the time, because if you've never had a bad day, that's sweet, because I think everybody has. But how many of you realize, like, when a bad day, when you wake up in the morning, the alarm doesn't go off, you're running late, you stub your toe, you spill the milk, you get pulled over for speeding, whatever, you're having this horrible day, right? How many of you realize when you're having a bad day like that, doesn't it seem like it always gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's like, oh, I'm having the worst day. How many of you have had that happen before, right? Well, what are you focusing on? You're focusing on, thinking about it. If you focus on all the crap in your life, okay, you're just going to get more crap, yes? You're going to be like a crap magnet, okay? Seriously, you're going to be a total crap magnet. But the more you focus on all the crap in your life, the more crap you're going to get. You're just going to be a crap magnet. But if you start focusing on all the good things in your life, and you start focusing on what you're grateful for, and you start focusing on the good things in your life, focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have, focusing on the good things that are happening every single day instead of all the negative things that are happening. Guys, everybody has negative stuff happen to them. It's just how we respond to it, okay? It's not like wealthy people don't have problems. They have more problems. More money, more problems. The reality is they've just learned how to deal with them. I'll talk about that more in a second. But whatever you focus on expands. So we just don't want you to be a crap magnet. And you're now a money magnet, okay? We're going to change it from a crap magnet to a money magnet. Fair enough? Okay, it's so funny, my little 4-year-old, it's so funny when somebody sees just a little, coin on the street or whatever, sometimes they're just like, leave it, they're just like, yeah, well, what is that putting out into the universe? Let's say, it's not that important, right? Well, so I teach my 4-year-old, I teach all the people in my group back at home, if they find a coin on the ground or whatever, some money, pick it up, and I tell them, go, thank you, I'm a money magnet. So you should see my 4-year-old, every time he finds a penny on the ground or finds some money on the ground, he picks it up and he goes, thank you, I'm the money magnet! And even in the grocery store, people are like, whoa, like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, but it's funny, he's 4 years old and he goes, thank you, I'm the money magnet! And now his little brother's trying to do it, he's like, you know? So he knows what he's saying, so it's awesome. But think about it, just say thank you, okay? You know, how many of you get excited when you, I don't know, do you guys have dryers here for your clothes? Yes? Okay. So how many of you pull your jeans out of the dryer? You're like, yeah, stupid. How many of you pull your jeans out and when you find some money in the dryer, how many of you find money in the dryer and you're like so freaking excited, right? How many of you have done that before? Why? It's your money. Like it's yours, and we get so excited when we find money. It's funny, but it's the same thing. So whenever you find money, just say thank you, and it's like whatever you focus on expands. Fair enough? So I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment. And so your homework assignment is this. Your homework assignment is to absolutely zero complaining for the next 7 days. For the next 7 days, no complaining. Nothing, okay? And if you complain even once, you have to start your 7 days over. Okay? And some of you already have to start over. You're like, oh, God. Really? You didn't last very long. All right. So your homework assignment is 7 days, no complaining. If you every single time you complain, you have to start your 7 days over. How many are going to do your homework assignment? Raise your hand super high. All right. Seriously, guys, try this. I did this at a seminar probably, I don't even know, like 10 years ago, and I think I'm a pretty positive person. I'm pretty positive all the time. I'm good at being the spin master. I'm good at, putting good, energy out there and stuff like that. But I was like, oh my God, I complain way more than I thought I do. I'm like, dang it. So it's a good little, check up from the neck up, right? It's a good way to stay in check because think about it. Again, your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results. So if you're complaining, what are we thinking and feeling? We're thinking and feeling negative stuff, right? So what you put in is what you get out. You put positive in, you're going to get positive out. You put negative in, you're going to get negative out. Okay? So 7 days, no complaining. So you guys have to email me or send me a Facebook message and let me know. The first person to complete 7 days, I'm going to send a special gift to. Don't lie either, because I'll know. I'll ask your friends and family. They'll tell me. They'll be like, oh, no, she did not complain for 7 days. Okay? All right, so 7 days, no complaining. I love this one. Ooh, wow, that was kind of snazzy. Hold on. All right, success trainings, failure complains. Isn't that a good one? I love that one. All right, now we can go to the next one. All right, so 3% guys, they play to win, whereas 97% play not to lose. Okay? They always got to play it safe. Not 3%ers, man. They play to win. They make a decision and they stick with it. They say successful people make a quick decision and stick with it for a long time. People who are not successful, take them forever to make up their mind and they change it all the time. Okay? My 3 golden rules in this business, I'm going to give them to you right now. The first one is to get excited. Okay? If you can't get excited, this business is going to be really tough for you. Okay? Get excited. The second one is pay attention. Okay? Pay attention and get plugged in. Getting plugged in, getting committed, and I'll go over these again later so you don't miss them. But it's get excited, get plugged in, and stay plugged in. Okay? I love when people are like, oh yeah, I went to one of those meetings already. I'm like, really? You went to math class more than once, right? You're probably going to have to go to more than one meeting. You're probably going to have to watch more than one video, get on more than one call, whatever the case may be. Sit down with your mentors and your upline success coaches more than once. Every single day, this is a learning process, guys. I've been doing this business full-time, 24/7 for 17 years now. I've never done anything else but this business. And every single day, I learn something new. Don't wait till I'm going to wait till I learn it all and then I'll get started. You'll never get started. I still learn every single day. Every single day. Okay? So 3%, they play to win, and the other ones play not to lose. Think about it. What is your intention? I don't know about you guys here, but back in the States, it's like you run into people and it's like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, getting by. Oh, how terrible is that? Or, how much money do you want to make? I just want to pay the bills. Think about it. What is your intention? What are you putting out there? If your intention is to just pay the bills, guess what you're going to do? You're going to always just pay the bills. You're never going to have any additional. So think about your intention. Your intention is so important, okay? All right, let's talk about the next one. All right, 3%, or 3%, 97% of the world, they think that okay, yeah, let me start over with that one, okay? 97% think that it's got to be either or, okay? Whereas 3%ers, they just go, man, I can have anything, I could have it all, okay? You know, and it's so funny because I look at my life and I feel very, very blessed to be a mom, to be able to raise my own kids, to not have to go to a job, to not have to worry about my finances anymore, and I get to raise my kids. I mean, it's like the best of all worlds, you know. But that was 17 years in the making. It didn't happen overnight. It was little decisions that I made every single day. You know, I tell people all the time, because my first company that I started with when I was, 23 years old, I made $100,000 US my first year in the business. And that's not to impress you. It's more impressive on you that this business is a learned business. You have to become a student of personal development. You have to become a student of network marketing, okay? You'll never get good at something that you don't learn from people who are successful how to get good at, okay? So I just became a student of this industry. I became a student of personal development. And so, I mean, that's all I did. But for me, you know, people always think that you have to be either or. Like, you're either rich or you're, spiritual. You're, either rich or you spend time with your kids. It's always something. And so they always think, oh, I'm either rich or I'm generous. Why can't you be rich and generous? Why can't you be rich and be a good parent? Why can't you be rich and spiritual or religious or whatever? Why can't you can? And I think people always think they have to be one or the other. So it's definitely not. You can have it all. That's what's so great. I think it's kind of stupid when people say, oh, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Is that the dumbest statement you've ever heard? I mean, if you're going to have cake, you're probably going to eat it. Don't. I think it's like the dumbest statement ever. All right? So here's another thing. 3%ers, they totally admire and model other successful people. Okay? They admire them and they model them and they watch what they do. We always say, look, find somebody who has the results you want in life, do what they do, learn how to say what they say, and you'll get their same results every single time. Okay? When I was 23 years old, I was a broke college student. What the hell did I know about running this business? Nothing. Okay? You started what, 19? Let's start at 19. What did you know about running a successful business? Nothing. Okay? But we were smart enough, okay, like you said at the very, very beginning, we were smart enough to grab onto the belt loops of people who were immensely successful in this business. We didn't listen to our broke friends who were like, oh, it's never going to work. Why would you listen to those people? If you want the results, listen to them. It's so funny. I would say OPO, other people's opinions, it'll make you or break you. And it's so crazy because if their opinions aren't paying your bills, don't listen to them. If their opinions aren't paying your bills, stop listening to them. Start listening to people who are immensely successful, who have the results you want in life, not just financially, guys. And when I say the word rich, I'm not talking about just money, okay? I'm talking about everything in life, okay? I'm talking about everything. So when I talk about rich, think about it. Find the people who have the results you want in life, do what they do, learn how to say what they say, and you'll get their same results every single time, okay? The crazy thing is 97%ers totally resent successful people. Totally resent them. It's amazing. It's like, oh, you're driving a BMW, a Mercedes or something, and it's like, oh, I wouldn't want that car anyway, or oh, that guy's such a jerk, and there's so much resentment. Well, think about it again. What are you putting out there? You'll never get something that you resent. If there's resentment, you're pushing it away. Yes? Okay. So you want to admire and model wealthy and successful people. All right. Here's your homework again.